Early this year, January 2025, I released 2 books. One book was a children's book, and it was entitled Our Differences Make Us Stronger. And it was a book for young people to understand how to embrace differences at a very early age. The second book was called How We Heal, and it's an adult book, and it's a memoir of my life and my journey, but it also speaks about the work of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation and the work that we've been doing around racial equity for our nation, trying to address the systems that advantage some and disadvantage others, and build a future where all children thrive. So what I wanted to do today is just read an excerpt from the adult book, How We Heal. On a personal level, it takes courage to begin racial healing. We must be willing to confront and communicate painful truths about our society and about our own unexamined beliefs. That's why first-time circle members often find themselves deep in their own heads. Through the process, though, they wind up instead in the heads and hearts of everyone present. Suddenly, they realize that they are not just individuals. They are part of a whole. They are participants in a shared fate. In April 1963, 2 months before he visited Detroit, Dr. King described his concept of shared fate from his jail cell in Birmingham, Alabama. On scraps of newspaper and notepads, he wrote, "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Never have truer words been written about our imperfect American experiment or about unequal American experience that has engendered throughout. For better or worse, we're tied together by a shared fate, and when that fate is confronted by hate, by division, we will all be diminished. As history affirms, when we choose to ignore our interconnection and interdependence with one another, we fail to grow stronger together. But when we embrace what we share, our humanity, our values, our aspirations, we can build better futures for our children, families, and communities." We saw the impact of our shared fate starkly during the pandemic. Even as many of us sheltered in our homes to stay safe from a deadly virus, we all relied on doctors and nurses to care for us when we were sick. Grocery store workers to ensure we could get the food our families needed, and first responders of all kinds to help us stay safe. And when we tried to reopen our workplaces and restart the economy, we saw the powerful role that care work, especially child care, plays in the functioning of our economy. As they struggled to get employees, especially women, to return to work, corporate America saw the impact of our shared fate directly. And because of that experience, more and more segments of the business community have become allies in the struggle to build an economy that works for all working families. The simple fact is that only when we allow for healing and connection can we realize the promise of our common humanity, of Ubuntu. I'm a person because you're a person. That's why my story shows, and what the story of the Kellogg Foundation and our work to promote racial healing proves. Whenever I've participated in racial healing efforts, I've witnessed people uncovering what links their fates to the fates of others, and vice versa. These epiphanies, the precious aha moments, change lives. And the experience is open to anyone with the courage to take part. Still, some people remain skeptical. When I speak about racial healing, I often hear the cynical retort, "You're not going to end racism." In the minds of some, it's as if racism were as natural as the wind. But it's not. Racism is a system created by people, perpetuated by people, and it can be dismantled by people too. Just think about the stories I've told in this book, the accounts from communities everywhere. These stories, these people, show what healing can achieve. And so does my own story. The story of one little black girl from the east side of Detroit, not all that different from any other little black girl. But this little black girl benefited from love and education and the opportunities to pursue her passions and dreams. The very things so many others are denied, through no fault of their own, simply because they are ensnarled in systems and structures that people have created. Systems and structures that people together can change. Not long after I started as president and CEO of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, I received a letter from one of my girlfriends from Cass Tech in Detroit. She's now an educator overseeing several schools in Detroit. To celebrate Black History Month, she told me one of her second grade teachers had asked her class to draw and give a presentation about a Black leader of their choice. As I slid a second piece of paper out of the envelope, I realized with delight that the one little girl in that class had drawn me. I was surprised, of course, and flattered too. I have always tried to serve children above all, but it never occurred to me that one of them might put me in the same category as the Black American heroes I have revered since I was a girl. When this 8-year-old girl thought of a leader, the person she thought of didn't need to have gravitas. That undefined quality I have been told was necessary to steward a philanthropy. For her, perhaps, a leader just needed to have heart and to be working towards something worthwhile. That cute stick figure portrait of me provoked a deeper realization. The children are watching us. They see the need for healing. They know it's vital to their future, and they are judging us based on the work we are doing to realize the best version of our shared fate. While my struggle to carry the baggage of the past, young people come to this work with fresh eyes and fresh minds. They bring optimism and energy. They bring a new way of being in community that we haven't experienced because of limitations imposed by America's history and ideology of racial inequality. All those years ago, W.K. Kellogg insisted that one of the most beneficial services that could be bestowed upon civilization is to make the lives of little children happier, healthier, and more promising. And he was exactly right. This unwavering commitment informs our work every single day. But one thing I've learned is that the inverse is true too. We can benefit from the children, particularly from their abiding sense of hope, as I do from my grandchildren, Marley, Avery, and Charles Jr., for whom I wish a better, fairer, and more just world. Building that world together starts with conversation. Honest, ongoing conversation. Starts with the hard truths that can provoke mutual understanding. mutual respect, and mutual recognition, with each of us seeing ourselves in each other. And it starts with the humility and the humanity to see that the path to repair and transformation runs through empathy and action. This is how we heal. Thank you.